Outraged protests broke out in Ecuador after the killing of the presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio on Wednesday. The presidential candidate was killed after being shot dead during a campaign rally. As per reports, some 30 shots were fired following the candidate being driven away into a car. The Attorney General has said that the suspect of the killing died after getting injured in a shootout himself. The violence injured at least 9 other people, including a candidate for the legislature and 2 police officers. Emergency is declared in Ecuador following the assassination of the candidate, who was a former unionist and journalist and had pledged to combat corruption and reduce tax evasion if elected. China has launched the Series 1 Y7 carrier rocket, sending satellites into planned orbit today. Now, the commercial rocket blasted off carrying 7 satellites, including the Shiguang-1 satellite. Now, this launch is Beijing's 7th flight mission using the Series 1 rocket series. Before this, Galactic Energy, which is a private carrier rocket developer, sent the 6th rocket that carried 2 satellites in July this year. A group of South Korean university students rallied in Tokyo on Wednesday to protest Japan's plan to dump nuclear water from Fukushima into the Pacific. At least 24 students gathered outside Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. The students were holding signs and banners while chanting slogans to denounce the impending dumping plan. Before returning home, the South Korean students will additionally visit Fukushima for an exchange program with the locals. They hope that these activities will garner global attention, resulting into the cancellation of the dumping plan. Some 20 Tokyo residents also joined the rally, claiming that the safety of the plan lacks credibility. It's the third and the final day of the debate in the Indian Parliament over the no confidence motion against the elected government of Narendra Modi. The Indian Prime Minister is expected to speak today in the lower house and reply to the motion. The opposition has been demanding for the Prime Minister's statement amid the ongoing ethnic violence in India's northeastern Manipur state. Yesterday, Indian opposition leader Rahul Gandhi also addressed the parliament and raised his concerns against the incumbent government. Pakistan's parliament was dissolved by the president on Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's advice late Wednesday. The dissolution sets the stage for a national election amid political and economic crisis. The advice came 3 days ahead of the Parliament's 5-year term, which expires on August 12th. The dissolution will be followed with a caretaker administration to be picked by Shehbaz Sharif and an opposition leader in the outgoing Parliament. Sharif's discussions with the opposition leader on Thursday to pick a caretaker Prime Minister has been ongoing, and the caretaker government will hold new elections in 90 days. At least 9 people were arrested in London's Oxford Street after police issued dispersal orders to 34 people. This after central London's shopping heartland was hit with youth chaos following online rumours that encouraged mass disorder. Hundreds of youths made their way onto the roads on Wednesday. 2 people were arrested for conspiracy to commit robbery, while others were arrested on suspicion of assaulting a police officer. As per the police, a significant amount of personnel have been deployed on the streets to avoid the incident from growing. A post on social media platform TikTok is under the scanner to promote organized robbery of a store with date, time, and even a dress code. People marched in Poland's capital of Warsaw to mark a day of solidarity with Belarus on Wednesday. The day coincides with the third anniversary of mass protests in Minsk against Alexander Lukashenko's re-election. The election was widely believed to have been falsified by Lukashenko, leading to a major fallout. Belarus witnessed one of its biggest protests in recent history after the vote and were put down with force. A fire tore through a holiday lodging in eastern France and killed 11 people on Wednesday. At least 17 people were safely evacuated and one person was hospitalized after rescue operations. The fire broke out at the timbered residence in the eastern town, and the lodging was being used by a group of adults with learning disabilities. The fire struck deep in the night while the guests were asleep, and those on the upper floor were unable to react fast enough to save their lives. The fire is the deadliest France has seen since 2016. At least 2 people were killed and 7 were injured in a Russian missile attack on the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia. Earlier, Ukrainian officials had reported 3 deaths, which was corrected later to 2. Doctors were able to resuscitate 1 person and were assisted by police paramedics at the scene. At least 2 people were killed in clashes between members of Shia armed group of Hezbollah and residents of a Christian town in Lebanon on Wednesday. The clashes occurred after residents surrounded an overturned lorry, and Lebanese media released footage of men in plain clothes shooting rifles in the streets. Lebanese army troops were deployed around the lorry at nightfall. A crane removed wooden crates from the lorry. Large groups of residents gathered around and kept the road closed. Crewmates of the Russian Expedition 69 ventured outside the International Space Station on Wednesday. The cosmonauts attached 3 debris shields to the Raspet module. The spacewalk also included testing of a work platform that will be affixed to the European robotic arm attached to the Nauka multi-purpose laboratory module. President Joe Biden claimed that his economic policies are reviving U.S. manufacturing on Wednesday. Biden is touring the U.S.'s western states to drum up support for his efforts on employment and inflation. President Biden's claim of bolstering U.S. manufacturing is backed by rise in construction spending on new factories. Factory hiring, on the other hand, continues to slow in recent months, signaling that the promised bloom is yet to fully materialize. Lanús, Argentina, an 11-year-old Argentine girl died after being robbed and beaten on the way to school on Wednesday. As per witnesses, the girl was walking to school when thieves on the back of a motorcycle hit her and grabbed her backpack. The incident has sparked protests over rising crime and prompting politicians to suspend election campaigning. Leading candidates for the country's political party primaries suspended their final election rallies, which had been due for Wednesday and Thursday. Provinces in northeast China are racing against time to advance flood control and anti-flooding efforts. The authorities are scrambling to reduce economic losses and help residents wade through difficulties. Some 500 police personnel were mobilized on Wednesday to help the situation. The police made at least 25,000 sandbags to reinforce 360 meters of river dam. Although floodwaters are gradually receding, some residents are still kept in relocation sites. Persistent heavy rains has been hitting the northeast provinces since a week now, leading to the evacuation of thousands. The heat wave in Spain peaked as temperatures reached 44 degrees Celsius in places on Wednesday. The Spanish mainland is hit by a severe heat wave that is also impacting other parts of the country. Spain's National Meteorological Agency announced that the heat wave is likely to end on August 18th. 11 areas of the country, including Madrid, are on red alert. Meanwhile, winds and extreme heat are also driving fires that have devastated 15,000 hectares of trees in neighboring Portugal over the past few days. Hours after US President Joe Biden signed an executive order curbing American investments in China's tech companies, its ally, the United Kingdom, is weighing how to respond to the decision. The UK government has said that it is continuing to assess the potential fallout from the investments in China's semiconductors, quantum information technologies, and also artificial intelligence systems. A UK government spokesperson said that the executive order gave important clarity on the US approach. But the spokesperson added that the UK will consider the measures closely in order to assess potential national security risks. Now, India has started importing tomatoes from Nepal. India's finance minister announced amid a record high rise in costs. The first batch of imports expected to arrive in Varanasi, Lucknow and Kanpur in northern India by Friday. According to the ministry, tomato prices at the wholesale market have risen more than 1,400% in the last 3 months to a record $1.69 per kg, with farmers claiming that factors such as low rainfall, increased temperatures, and a virus outbreak have hampered the crop. China has lifted pandemic-era restrictions on group tours for more countries, including key markets such as the United States, Japan, South Korea and Australia. This is a potential boon for their tourism industries. Prior to the pandemic, mainland Chinese tourists spent more than any other country's tourists when aboard, clocking up a combined $255 billion in 2019, with group tours estimated to account for roughly 60% of that. Their absence since the pandemic has led to financial troubles for many tourism-dependent businesses around the globe. In preparation for its upcoming global summit on artificial intelligence, Britain has appointed tech expert Matt Clifford and former senior diplomat Jonathan Black as leaders. The task involves uniting political leaders, AI companies, and experts for the autumn event. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak aims to position Britain as a leader in AI regulation, emphasizing safety alongside innovation. While the EU proposes the AI Act, other countries vary in their regulatory approaches. Britain divides AI oversight between existing bodies, differing from creating a new dedicated entity. G7 leaders have urged the adoption of trustworthy AI standards, leading to the Hiroshima AI process.